Oh la la. Excellent. You all sitting comfortably? Well, that's a shame, because you'll need to stand up and grab 3 different coloured scarves, so you'll find them on your nearest tables. It's not really a sitting down workshop. If you'd like to watch and just look at people dropping things, that's fine. So there will be a bit of gospel juggling application a bit later, but we need to learn how to juggle first of all. So 3 different colour scarves, because that way you can track the right colours in the air. So 3 different colours. If you've run out at your table, there's loads of sets on different tables as well. But if you are taking part, you will need to stand up. Very difficult to throw scarves if you're still in your seat. And then the next thing you need to do, now that you've got your 3 different coloured scarves, is just drop 2 on the floor. Wonderful. You'll find the floor right beneath you. You'll be acquainted with it very much often. Gospel magic is all about hiding things and sleight of hand and bits of deception and all that. Juggling, everything is up front. If you drop, everyone sees it. You just have to then learn lots of drop lines and pretend that you meant it. But we're starting with just 1 scarf. We've got the other 2 in front of us. That means we're not going to have to go back to the table and grab another scarf. We've got everything we need here. We're just going to try to learn to juggle for maybe 5-10 minutes, and then we'll have a break. I'll talk a bit about gospel juggling. We'll give scarves another try, and then we'll move on to juggling balls. And then I'll talk a bit about rings and clubs and other things you can juggle. It's the same 3 steps with scarves, balls, rings, clubs, hamsters, bin bags, whatever. Same 3 steps that you learn. So if you can learn it with scarves that are very slow and graceful in the air, and take a bit of time to sink, and they won't roll under your couch, then you can move on to balls and rings and all the other things eventually. So 3 steps. So your first step, and every throw you're going to do in the pattern called Cascade, which is this one, every throw you're going to do is just up as far as you can across the body. And then as it comes down, the only difference with scarves and all the other toys is you catch them with your palm down. So you claw them out the air. And then you have to throw it all the way back up across. Please do not pass it like this, because that's a very difficult trick when you start moving on to 2 or 3. So it has to come all the way back up across the body. So you're aiming for the 2 corners, just like S Club 7's reunion. You're going to reach for those stars. So there we go. So as high up as you can. If you can get it that extra few inches, you'll probably get another second to think before the next scarf would be thrown. There we go. If you had a vanishing purse, you could always start by not being able to find your scarf, so that ties it in with gospel magic as well. I couldn't find mine this morning. It had already disappeared. So we've done 1, so we pick up our second scarf. Scarves are much more tiring than balls and rings and clubs, because you are having to use your arms to really get them up in the air. Big thing with 2, you're going to do the same throw again, so please do not pass it like this. Please throw to 1 corner and the other, and then you can catch and catch. So throw, throw, catch, catch. If you get them nice and high, you've got a bit of time to think about it. If you do it really low, then you're going to panic and you're going to have to do it really fast. Make sure you're catching them in the other hand. So if you've thrown green, pink, make sure that you catch green, pink. Excellent. It's entirely up to you. Some people like holding them. Some people like holding the scarves in the middle. If you want them to float that little bit longer in the air, then holding them at the end might work. So just try that for another 10 or 20 seconds. And then we get to move on to 3, which will be exactly these throws once again, but I'll show you how you introduce the 3rd one. Excellent. So grab your 3rd one. You want 2 in your good hand. So you want 2 in your good hand. That's whatever hand you write with, usually. The hand that you do want to start with. So the hand that you want to start with is the hand that's going to have 2 in it. You need to make sure the scarves aren't all tangled up together, so you want a good clean first throw. You should be able to work out which of your 2 colors you're going to be throwing first. And if you can think in your head the 3 colors and the order won't change. So for me, I'm going to be throwing purple, green, pink, and then I'm just going to be throwing it, but from the other hand, purple, green, pink. So what you're going to try and do is just release the first one, as clean a throw as you can, because if it gets all tangled up, it'll be a bit messy. But you're just going to try, if you just watch me for just a second, you're going to throw the first one, and then the second one, and then you've got a space, so you can throw the third one, and the fourth one. So if there's a space, then you've got time to throw the next one. But you need to start with just one. And it needs to be a really big high throw, and then you've got time to just keep going and get into a bit of rhythm. And the higher you throw, the more time you've got to think about it. Oh, our first juggler. I haven't checked who can already juggle, just so I can take credit for anyone around that's looking really good already. Most people start teaching with balls, but I find it's a lot quicker to teach scarves and balls than just juggling balls. If you can get 9 catches, you're officially a juggler. The definition of juggling is you just take the amount you're juggling and you times it by 3 repetitions. So 3 scarves, 9 juggles. So if you've got any problems with speed, it's just because you're not getting them high enough. If you do it at this height, you're going to have to go really, really fast. But up high, you've got time to think. If you're struggling with 3, you can step back to 2 for a minute or so and then step back up. That's all right. You can practice your 2s. And the other thing is, don't worry, it's not a full hour of juggling. There are some other activities coming up in a little bit. Excellent. Yes. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll put the scarves back on the table. We'll grab a toothbrush and a stick. Toothbrush and a stick, they're also on all the tables. Because the best thing to do, yep, toothbrush, stick. Hello. Excellent. Okay. I'm glad you said that to her and not me. Right. Okay. That's because you've got a damaged hand, though. You've done a wrist assessment, haven't you? Right. Here we go. Toothbrush twirling, you just hang it near the end and then you give it a twirl. There we go. Yeah, it's very fulfilling. Yeah. Brush up on your skills. So you're good. That's it, and then just with more confidence and speed. It works in one direction. Oh, touche, brilliant. Well, if you can do it with 1 already, then you might as well step up to 2 or 5 or 10. If you can't do it, it might just be that you're spinning it the wrong way, because one way works and one way doesn't. So if it's not working for you, try the other way. All his days, he did it. So you can brush up on your skills anytime. And if you do it in the bathroom with your bestest friend, you can do it in sync. There we go.
You get awarded a plaque?
Yes, just a little plaque. But that's incidental.
Ian, we need photos for Juggler. These would be brilliant photos for Juggler. No, it's making it by a flying missile.
Has anyone flossed for words yet? There we go.
Can you add one while the others are spinning?
Yes, as long as you're okay with them falling to the ground. Whew. Hola. Oh, just like you did. I just... Oh, have you not got it? Oh, you got it. Yes, brilliant. Cool. Now, if you put the toothbrushes and sticks back, pick up 3 scarves again. You've had a little break from it. Your arms will have recovered. Your muscle memory will kick in. And you might suddenly find that you're closer to those 9 catches that you want. We'll just do it for another couple of minutes, and then I'll talk about gospel juggling, and you can have a rest. We can maybe play some groovy music from the iPod of awesomeness. That would be great. Because it sometimes helps to be doing it to the rhythm. There we go. 9 catches makes you a juggler. And the biggest thing is to get them out your hands. If you're still holding on to them, that's when the trouble is. You can put the scarves on the table or you can keep them with you. I will do a quick talk about gospel juggling. Ooh la la. Cool. Well, for those that have seen me around for the past 4, 5, 10 years at CMUK but wondered what I do, I'm a gospel juggler. This is very much my allied art. You're coming along to this as your allied art. Puppetry is something I don't do either, but I turn up at the One Way UK, and I'm their allied art as well. So we're all kind of connected. We all do things. We all want to profess the gospel to anyone and everyone. We're just doing it in different ways. Like I've said, gospel magic, you're hiding things, you're tricking people, it's deceit. Juggling, it's all up in the air. Literally. There's no place to hide with it. But you can still add the occasional magic trick like that. Ooh la la. There we go. So scarves, you can have vanishing scarves, so that can be the start of a routine. If you've got 3 of anything and you know how to juggle, then if you've learnt scarves, balls, rings, and clubs, any other object is going to behave like one of those 4 things. Rings. We will move on to trying juggling balls in just a few minutes' time. That's where most of the messages come from. If you're wondering about all the gospel routines for juggling and Diablo and Devil's Stick and all these, you can have a flick through these books. They're up on the table. This is my own library of books. If you want to take home some books, these are books, little booklets on how to do anything and everything. You're welcome just to take them. It'll get them out of a corner of my stockroom, where they've been sitting for years, since YouTube kind of does all that now, so they are just... feel free to take how to juggle balls, how to juggle rings, how to Diablo, all that stuff just over here. Please don't take these home. If you want to buy any gospel juggling books, there's some back here with prices on them. Some routines. Well, usually at the start of a show, oh, hello everyone, sorry. At the start of a routine, I'd normally do one that says, if I drop, you can maybe shout, praise Jesus. So we'll give that a try. Here we go. So we'll wait for it, and then we can build up the audience. And you ready? Oh, sorry, as it could happen at any time. Wonderful. And then I can go into the reason why we're going to praise Jesus, and that can be straight into the first routine. That also gives me a get-out clause for any time I drop in the show. As soon as one person's remembered to shout, praise Jesus, no one's pointing, no one's laughing. I'm not worried anymore, because they're just going to say, praise Jesus, if I make a mistake. So I'm covered, and that means I can relax, I can enjoy the show. They can enjoy the show, because they can see I'm enjoying the show. And you know all about that kind of psychology for when magicians make mistakes and how they cover them up as well. That's kind of how jugglers cover up. They just come up with drop lines, comedy, and things like manipulating the audience so that they shout, praise Jesus. What else can we do? Oh, let's give well, let's go intermediate. The next stage up from scarves is bin bags. I'm not talking rubbish, it really is. Oh, here we go. Oh. He's refusing to take part. Here we go. This can be a really big, wonderful, amazing stage routine where you can invite up 3 people because you can get them to blow up the bags, not like this, but to give them a shake. You can get your 3 audience members to do this. It can take 10 minutes. You can have loads of comedy potential. You can choose blokes because they never know how to tie the bin bags, so you can make comedy out of that they're not the ones taking the rubbish out at night. All that kind of stuff. And then you can have all your bin bag jokes. And this is a gospel juggling routine as well, but it's also, this is your intermediate between scarves and balls, because these will act like scarves in the air, but they're shaped like balls. So they're halfway between the two. But if you turned up at a party, you're probably not going to have 3 scarves or 3 balls with you. But if it's a house party, you can go into their kitchen drawer, grab 3 bin bags, and you've got a guaranteed party trick, which could lead to a gospel message. And you'll see that's just the same pattern as before. I'm thrown from one hand, and then the other. These actually go a bit higher. There we go, that was just testing. You'll never know if I meant to drop that or not, but I didn't. And then there's lots. But we get the idea of that, so I'll stop that rubbish. So you're welcome to try 3 bin bags later, but not enough bin bags for all of us, not enough room in here, so we'll just put all the bin bags here. There will be a chance to try Diablo and devil sticks and other things, and I'll go into those messages. But let's have a ball juggling lesson. So if you grab 3 juggling balls or bean bags, you want different colours if you can, once again, because it's easier to track which one you're throwing through the air if you have different colours rather than orange, 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 and then it just keeps going. 3 balls. We are going to work through the same 3 steps that we've already done with scarves, so you can drop 2 balls on the floor straight away. We'll build up with 1. If you do rings and clubs, we'll build up exactly the same way again. We've got loads of rings over there. You can try juggling clubs later. But starting with just 1 in your good hand, and the idea is to throw it just above your head. Not all the way up, just clearing your head, and then it lands in the other hand. So we want to work on just 1 ball to start with, because we want to make sure that your hand doesn't come all the way out here to catch, because then your next throw is going to have to be all the way back here, and then this way, and then you start moving all over the place. So we want to get the first throw so that it's landing just nicely in the other hand, without the other hand needing to go like this, or this, or this, or this. But hopefully just above your head. And then when you feel ready, you can pick up juggling ball number 2. And then with 2, you're just going to do you just need to focus. Just need to focus. But I'll be a willing pupil. If you do 2, then you're just going to do the exchange. You're going to throw 1 first. Throw, throw, catch, catch. So you can do it like 1, 2, 3, 4, or throw, throw, catch, catch, throw, throw, catch, catch. We'll put on just a little bit of groovy music so that you can maybe pick up a rhythm, if that's all right. Were the scarves okay, though?
Yeah, but they were bigger.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Bigger target.
Yes, got you. Cool.
Gone down there and
Ting, tang, walla walla bing bang.
I got my...
So you
I
need
did
to
not
make
get
sure
it
the
mixed up with
second
your
ball is
wires.
going just as high as the first one. A lot of people just doing this. So If you need to go back to just one and make sure the height is just above your head, that's absolutely fine. But you want your second ball to go just as high as the first one. The other thing is, it took me 3 days to learn to juggle. You're getting a very brief lesson, but hopefully you'll remember the 3 steps, and then it's all about perseverance. So don't worry if you don't master it in a little 20-minute segment during a big magician's conference. There's balls and bean bags on each table. Some people really prefer bean bags because once they hit the floor, they don't roll away. Some people like the juggling balls better because that's what they'd eventually want to learn and perform with. So it's entirely up to yourself, but there's 2 different types on the table. For anyone sitting down, if you see people near you and they're just not throwing it high enough, maybe just encourage them to throw it that little bit higher. There we go. But ideally, just above your head would be perfect. We're going to move on to 3 in about 30 seconds' time. You can step back down after that. Okay, sir, you need to throw the second one and not pass it if you can throw both. If you're struggling to throw the second one like the first one, then try starting with it first. So try starting with your weakest hand. Sometimes that makes all the difference. So if you're struggling with the second ball, getting it really high, then start with that one. You might panic slightly less. Okay, if you grab your third juggling ball, you can step back down to 2 in a minute if you want. We're only going to do it for a few more minutes. We're going to go back to scarves in a little bit as well, because you might have mastered them. And then I'll do a bit more gospel juggling and talking about all that. But 3 balls, 2 in your good hand, 1 in the other hand. So you'll be able to work out the order, because sometimes it just helps saying the order in your head as to which one to throw next. The big difference, so if we... Brilliant, thank you. The only big difference with juggling 2 is you're going to need to get this second ball to the tips of your fingers once you've thrown the first one. So you've got to throw and then roll it ready so that it's ready to throw. Otherwise, it's stuck in the back of your hand and it's either going to come forward or it's just going to be a bit awkward. So once you've thrown the first ball, you have to be rolling the second ball to the tip of your fingers. But you're just throwing one and then the other. So starting with a hand with 2 in it, you can even just practice with both in one hand and just throw and roll and get ready, and throw and roll and get ready. But you do want to be building up to 3. Excellent. Do-da, well, everybody sing the song. Bean bags will be slightly harder to roll to the tips of your fingers, but it's still possible. That's just one of the other differences. Do-da, do-da, everybody sing the song all the do-da day. Hey girl with the say do-da, it's do-da. Let's do it anyway. Do-da, do-da. Oh, the do-da day. Oh. Yes? No, that was good. That was... Oh, look. Five catches. Yep. If you're stuck on a certain number, we're going to stop now for a second, so if you want to have a seat. If you're stuck on a certain number, like you always get to just 4 catches, then the trick is to start with your other hand, because then you're either going to get to 3 catches or 5 catches. And once you've reached 5 catches, you can then switch back to the other hand, and you might reach 4 or 6 catches. So there's ways of tricking your mind into just slowly improving. But if you ever manage 9 catches, you can officially call yourself a juggler. I became a gospel juggler because I got invited to be at a Church of Scotland beach mission, and they knew that I could juggle, and they thought if Steve comes out and entertains the people on the beach and in the high street, then we'll come on and do our drama, and it'll be Christian drama, and then we'll invite them along to the holiday clubs and all that kind of stuff. So that's how I started off. None of the juggling was gospel juggling, it was just trying to entertain the crowds. But I did get invited to do a big festival in Scotland called Carbery Christian Festival, and they asked if I would do the 10-minute opening act on the first night, do my gospel juggling, and I thought, well, I've got this book, Juggler for Jesus, and it's got 50 routines in it. So if I could only just juggle, there was about 10 routines I could do. If I could do a bit of Diablo, that was another 5 or 6. If I could do flower stick, well, that's another 5 or 6. So I thought, 10 minutes, I'll go and I'll write it. The week before the festival happened, they said, we're all set for your 1-hour show. Is there anything you'd like? I didn't want to let them down. It was going to be one of my first big gigs, so I just thought, well, I do know flower stick, I do know Diablo. I could do all 20 of the routines. Let's just go for it. And out of that came a 1-hour show that's still touring 25 years later. So everything's modular with gospel juggling, just like it is with your magic tricks. You can weave a theme all the way through all these different toys. It's all variety. So you can do a bit of ball juggling, a bit of flower stick, a bit of plate spinning. It all looks a bit different. You can tell different messages in different ways. But most of the early routines came from a wonderful American juggler called David Kane. 50 routines in this book, which you're welcome to flick through. And then his follow-up, or probably the first one because it's called Volume 1, the Handbook of Christian Juggling Routines, which is another 50 routines from the same bloke. And then all these other people came out. If you can skip, then Christian skip rope routines. If you can unicycle, Christian unicycle. Anyone lassos, they've got that. And if you're just into bits of clowning, then you've got these. So whatever other skills you can ally with your magic, brilliant, bring it on. It adds a bit more variety to your act. Like I say, magic is all about hiding things away and then coming up with something impressive. Juggling's putting it all out on display, but still boldly professing the message. Let's have a look. Let's do... So apparently we had a guy called Buddha who lived about 2,400 years ago. And apparently he did lots of amazing things. And then he died.
Praise Jesus.
And then about 1,400 years ago, there lived a guy apparently called Muhammad.
Praise Jesus.
And he did some amazing things apparently, and then he died. Then we've got a guy called Jesus. Yeah, we like him here. And he did lots of amazing things, and he gave us the power to forgive and lots of wonderful miracles, and gave us a way to know the Father God. But some people didn't like him, so he died. But he came back to life again, and that's the thing with our religion and all the other religions out there. All the other big world leaders have came and went, but we're left with this guy that defeated death, came back. We can still have a personal relationship with him. You can do that with 3 juggling balls. It doesn't need to be 5. That's just me showing off a bit, and also trying to hide the fact that this juggling ball is clearly different from all the others, so you probably guessed it was going to bounce. I'd usually mask it a bit better, but that's just another little routine. What else to say? Oh, let's teach you something else. So we've got a few more toys up on the table. And then I'll do a few more gospel routines at the end. But like I say, if you're not wanting to try the props, then maybe come forward and read how some of the routines work. They're all categorized by different types of props and different types of messages. And like the workshop yesterday where you could choose a prop and then work out how to apply it, you'll see that he's done it in exactly the same way. Some of these tricks very much started with a prop, wondering how he could do things. And other ones definitely started with a story, and then he's worked out how to add life's ups and downs and all these other analogies that he's chucked in there. So on your tables, but I'll show you them all first of all so you can stay seated for just a sec. We've got the devil stick. Ooh. Oh, you will actually come to know that this is called the devil stick, and this is called the Diablo. So that are the real names, horrible names. So just to reassure you, these are called the devil stick and the Diablo. And this is another story you can tell people, which is true. These are both around in Jesus' time. They weren't lovely and plastic and colorful. They were a bit more horrible and cheap and wooden. But if people saw you doing these wonderful tricks with the devil stick and the Diablo, they thought you'd shook hands with the devil, and that's how you got the wonderful skills. So we know it's all to do with learning and practice, but that's how these things really, really got their name 2,000 plus years ago. People genuinely thought if you had skills that you had somehow formed an agreement with the devil. So that's why this is called a devil stick, and this is called Diablo, El Diablo, the devil. But there's nothing at all to do with that, so you don't have to worry about using these things in church. I tend to call these flower sticks, just so that I don't need to address that till maybe a bit later when I get out one that doesn't have all the tassels on the end, and then we can talk about it. It just sometimes comes up in church settings when people say, why are you using something called a Diablo? So, flower stick. Wow. Note to self, remember you're wearing a mic. Right, there we go. You start with it under your chin, like a big bow tie. You point your arms to the ground. You let go. That's why it's called a flower stick. It does that as well. You can also kick it and flick it and twist it and twirl it. Once you get really good at all these tricks, you can do them all backwards. Woohoo! Yippee! But I'll turn around and face you wonderful people. So lots of kicks and flicks, but it all starts under the chin with a big roll, which gives you trick number 1. You can also roll it all the way back up, which gives you trick number 2. And then all sorts of stalls and back rolls. So that's enough to get you started. You can also do the toothbrush trick on it. And then we've got the Diablo. So they're all down here if you want a Diablo, or bin bags if you want to try the hybrid between scarves and balls. We'll have about 15 or 20 minutes before we wrap up, so this is a chance to explore the routines and have a little practice. Diablo, you need to spin it in just one direction. That's how it gets really, really fast. I'm left-handed, so I go left to right. This is my left to right. And then the left hand keeps it going. It just won't work if you're spinning it 2 ways, because it just won't pick up speed. If you're right-handed, then right to left, and then your right hand keeps it going. But you'll see here, I'm just using one hand to whip it into shape. The other hand's just holding the stick. And then if you're making sure you're not underneath expensive lights, you can maybe do some throws and catches. Probably not stand beside your nearest and dearest. Or maybe just pass it around, or step overs. Things like that to get you started. Anything else? We have spinny plates on the table, so we'll grab one of those. Different stick, much thinner, pointy end as well. Easiest way to spin a plate is just to put it on top of the pointy bit. Make your hand into a creepy claw. Land the creepy claw on top of the plate. Push down just a little. So all we're doing is that. And give it the tiniest of spins. That's the easiest ways. Most people pick it up and they start doing this. And if you're learning that way, it maybe takes you 5 or 6 or 7 minutes. And there'll be a lot of frustration This way you start it, you do it as slowly as you can, slow, slow, slow. If that works, you can build up the speed. But please don't do it as fast as you can, because that happens. So please start off slow and then you can build up speed. But if you get it going, you'll eventually get just the right speed that'll keep it going. It's only going to spin for about 20 seconds, so that is your time to do the tricks. Best trick is just to take your finger and bring it up the stick and have a flying saucer. You might have time to land it and pass it all around, but all these tricks just start with one hand, giving it the tiniest of spins. Maybe your pit stop crew around you can hand you another plate and another one and another one. You can also have them sticking out from lots of different places, pockets, boots, all those kind of things. But please help yourself. You can practice with the scarves, the bin bags, the balls, the plates, flower sticks, and Diablos, or come forward and look at the books for just 10 or 15 minutes. We'll put on some groovy music, and then I'll finish with a couple of routines. Thank you. Feel free to take these booklets away. It saves me taking them home. Wow. Okay, if everyone would like to, if anyone's able to return the props that they see round about them up onto tables, it means that the puppetry people will be able to have a clear floor space. Doesn't even need to be the same table, we just need things up and out the way. But thank you very much. I'll finish with a couple of routines. Also, if anyone's got any questions about gospel juggling or the sort of ministry that I do, then feel free to ask away. So the good thing about having 3 different items is that you can also talk about the Trinity, so you can go into all that kind of thing, the magic number 3. Or there's a fantastic routine in one of those books called The Missing Piece, because you can't really juggle with one, that's just throwing and catching. There was a little girl once that said that when she did this, she was playing with God. And they said, "Why is that?" Oh, there we go, see? And they said, "Why is that?" And they said, "Well, I throw it up in the air and he throws it back down at me." So, so to become a Christian, thank you, to become a Christian, you need 3 things. First thing is you need to hear the message. So hopefully you've heard it today in the past hour or whatever. So you need to hear the message. The second thing you need to believe what's been said. And some of you might not. And that's okay. You might not be at that stage of life yet, but hopefully you can stick around and find out more. The third thing is that you need to commit. And so if you want to know more about that, stay back till the end. Come and speak to us. We'll say a special prayer and all those kind of things. So if you can juggle just 3 things, you can talk about accept, believe, and commit. 3 things. Very, very likely. You can also talk about invitation. You can get someone up on stage. We were juggling. We were spinning 4 plates over there earlier. I just kept handing them to someone, and they willingly accepted. And you can talk about Jesus inviting us, but we have to accept the invitation. So Jesus has done all the hard work, but we still have to say we'd like to know him. And then you can do your altar calls and all those kind of things. Any questions before we wrap up? That wasn't a question, that was just you putting on your wonderful checked shirt. Excellent. In that case, I'm all finished and we can have a couple of minutes rest. Thank you for tiring yourselves out. And then we're handing over to the puppet people. Thank you very much.
Steve, thank you very much. This session is probably the one where Jesus has been praised more than any other.